The crew of the Odyssey, a state-of-the-art spaceship from Earth, was on a mission to explore the outer reaches of the galaxy. Captain James Harris, an experienced astronaut, led his team with a sense of adventure and curiosity. Alongside him were Dr. Emily Carter, the ship's xenobiologist, and Lieutenant Mark Davis, the chief engineer. They had already discovered numerous planets and documented various forms of alien life. One day, while navigating through an uncharted region of space, the Odyssey detected a strange signal emanating from a distant planet. "Captain, I'm picking up an anomalous signal from that planet," reported Dr. Carter, her voice tinged with excitement. "It doesn't match any known frequencies." Captain Harris leaned forward, intrigued. "Set a course for the planet. Let's see what we've got." As the Odyssey approached the planet, they marveled at its beauty. It was covered in lush, vibrant vegetation and had a serene, almost magical appearance. The planet's atmosphere was breathable, and its gravity was similar to Earth's. Lieutenant Davis, ever the skeptic, raised an eyebrow. "It's almost too perfect, don't you think?" Captain Harris nodded. "Indeed, but that's why we're here. Prepare for landing." The Odyssey descended smoothly, touching down in a clearing surrounded by towering trees and vibrant flora. The crew disembarked, their senses overwhelmed by the planet's beauty and the fragrant floral scent in the air. As they began to explore, they noticed something extraordinary. The plants and trees seemed to emit a soft bioluminescent glow, casting a gentle light that illuminated their surroundings. The crew felt a sense of tranquility they had never experienced before. "Captain, this place is incredible," Dr. Carter said, examining a glowing flower. "The biodiversity here is unlike anything we've seen." Before Captain Harris could respond, they heard a melodious voice calling out to them. "Welcome, travelers." They turned to see a stunningly beautiful alien girl standing at the edge of the clearing. Her skin was a delicate shade of blue, and her long flowing hair shimmered like silver in the soft light. Her eyes, large and expressive, held a mixture of curiosity and warmth. "I am Ilara," she introduced herself with a graceful bow. "Guardian of this world. Who are you?" Captain Harris, momentarily taken aback by her ethereal beauty, composed himself. "I'm Captain James Harris, and this is my crew. We're explorers from a distant planet called Earth." Ilara smiled, her presence radiating a calming energy. "You are welcome here, Captain Harris. But I must warn you, this planet holds many secrets, some of which are best left undiscovered." Ilara led the crew to a nearby village hidden within the forest. The village was a marvel of architecture, blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings. The buildings, made from organic materials, appeared to grow out of the ground, their structures adorned with vibrant, glowing plants. The villagers, all bearing the same delicate blue skin and silver hair as Ilara, greeted the newcomers with warmth and hospitality. They offered the crew food and drink, which tasted unlike anything they had ever experienced, an exotic blend of flavors that invigorated their senses. As they settled in, Ilara shared the history of her people, the Lyrans. "We have lived in harmony with this planet for millennia," she explained. "Our ancestors discovered the secrets of the flora and fauna, allowing us to thrive and maintain the balance of our ecosystem." Dr. Carter, fascinated by the Lyrans' connection to their environment, asked, "What about the signal we detected? What is its purpose?" Ilara's expression grew serious. "The signal is a beacon, a warning to keep outsiders away. Our world is beautiful, but it can also be perilous. The flora and fauna you see are not just passive elements of our environment. They are part of a complex, interconnected system that protects and sustains us." Captain Harris, sensing there was more to the story, pressed further. "What kind of dangers are we talking about?" Ilara sighed. "There are creatures in the depths of our forests that are not as welcoming as we are. They guard ancient secrets and have been known to react violently to intruders. It is for this reason that we ask you to stay within the village boundaries." Despite the warning, the crew's curiosity was piqued. They spent the next few days learning about the Lyrans' way of life, their advanced knowledge of biology and ecology, and their symbiotic relationship with their environment. One evening, as they gathered around a fire, Lieutenant Davis voiced what they were all thinking. "We can't just stay in the village, Captain. We need to understand what's out there. This planet has so much to offer." Dr. Carter nodded in agreement. There could be discoveries here that could revolutionize our understanding of biology and ecosystems. Captain Harris, torn between the desire to explore and the need to respect their host's warnings, finally spoke. "We'll proceed with caution. Ilara, will you guide us?" Ilara looked at them with a mixture of concern and determination. "I will accompany you. But remember, the forest has a mind of its own. Respect it, and it may reveal its secrets to you." With Ilara as their guide, the crew ventured deeper into the forest. The bioluminescent glow grew brighter, casting an otherworldly light on their path. The air was filled with the hum of unknown insects and the rustling of unseen creatures. As they walked, Ilara explained the intricate relationships between the plants and animals of the forest. Every species here has a role to play. The trees communicate through their roots, sharing nutrients and information. The flowers attract specific insects that pollinate them, ensuring the cycle of life continues. Dr. Carter was in awe. "It's like one giant, living organism. I've never seen anything like it." Suddenly, they heard a low growl from the underbrush. Ilara held up her hand, signaling them to stop. "Stay still," she whispered. A massive feline-like creature emerged from the shadows. Its fur was a deep, iridescent green, and its eyes glowed with an eerie light. It studied the intruders with a predatory gaze. Ilara spoke softly, her voice soothing. "We mean you no harm, guardian of the forest. Let us pass." To the crew's amazement, the creature slowly backed away, disappearing into the foliage. "That was one of the forest's protectors," Ilara explained. "They are the reason we must tread carefully." As they continued their journey, they stumbled upon an ancient ruin covered in vines and moss. The structure was made of a strange, luminescent stone that pulsed with a faint, rhythmic light. Captain Harris approached the ruin, his curiosity piqued. "What is this place?" Ilara's expression was solemn. "These are the remains of an ancient civilization that once thrived here. They were our ancestors, and their knowledge has been passed down through generations." Dr. Carter examined the stone more closely. "This technology is incredible. It's like the stones are alive, responding to our presence." Ilara nodded. "Our ancestors harnessed the energy of the planet to power their cities and sustain their people, but they also learned the dangers of overexploitation. This ruin serves as a reminder of the balance we must maintain." Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to tremble. The crew struggled to maintain their footing as the earth shifted. Ilara's eyes widened in alarm. "We need to leave now." As they hurriedly retraced their steps, the forest seemed to come alive around them. Vines reached out like tendrils, blocking their path, and the bioluminescent plants pulsed with an intensity that was almost blinding. "Keep moving," Captain Harris shouted, urging his team forward. They finally broke through the dense foliage, emerging into a clearing just as the ground behind them collapsed into a massive sinkhole. Breathing heavily, they realized how close they had come to being swallowed by the earth. Ilara looked at them with a mixture of relief and sorrow. The forest was trying to protect us. It sensed the disturbance in the ancient ruin. "We must be more careful." Captain Harris nodded, grateful for Ilara's guidance. "Thank you, Ilara. We owe you our lives." Ilara smiled softly. "We are all connected, Captain. Your presence here has awakened the forest's curiosity. There is much we can learn from each other." As the crew returned to the village, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of respect for the planet and its inhabitants. The journey had only just begun, and they were determined to uncover the secrets of this beautiful and mysterious world. Back at the village, the crew of the Odyssey was treated like honored guests. The Lyrans shared their stories, traditions, and knowledge, creating a bond of mutual respect and admiration. Captain Harris and his crew felt an increasing connection to this world and its people. One evening, while the crew was sitting around a communal fire, Ilara approached them with a solemn expression. "There is something I must show you," she said, "a place that holds the greatest secret of our ancestors." Curiosity piqued, the crew followed Ilara through the forest once more, this time heading towards a secluded mountain range. The journey was long and arduous, but their determination kept them moving forward. As they climbed higher, the air grew thinner, and the temperature dropped, but the bioluminescent plants provided warmth and light, guiding their way. At the summit, they reached a hidden cave entrance, covered by thick vines. Ilara parted the vines and led them inside. The cave walls glowed with a faint blue light, revealing ancient carvings and symbols. "This is the Hall of Ancestors," Ilara explained. "Here, our forebears recorded their history and the wisdom they gained from living in harmony with the planet." Dr. Carter examined the carvings, her eyes wide with wonder. "This is incredible. These symbols, they tell a story of a great catastrophe and the rebirth of your civilization." Ilara nodded. "Our ancestors faced a great trial. They overexploited the planet's resources, causing widespread devastation. But they learned from their mistakes and rebuilt their society with a newfound respect for nature. They harnessed the planet's energy, creating the sustainable way of life." Captain Harris ran his fingers over the carvings, feeling a deep sense of awe. "There's so much we can learn from your people, Ilara. Our own planet faces similar challenges." Ilara smiled warmly. "And we can learn from you, Captain. Your technology and knowledge of the stars could help us further our understanding of the universe." As they explored deeper into the cave, they found a chamber filled with glowing crystals. The air was charged with energy, and the crystals emitted a soft, melodious hum. Lieutenant Davis, ever the engineer, was fascinated. These crystals, they seemed to be some sort of power source. How do they work? Ilara gently touched one of the crystals, causing it to glow brighter. "They are a gift from the planet, a manifestation of its energy. Our ancestors discovered that by harmonizing with the crystal's frequency, they could tap into this energy and use it to sustain their civilization." Dr. Carter was intrigued. "Could we possibly learn to harness this energy as well?" Ilara nodded. "It is possible, but it requires a deep understanding of our planet's symbiotic relationships. The crystals are connected to the flora and fauna, and disturbing this balance could have dire consequences." Captain Harris understood the gravity of Ilara's words. "We must proceed with caution and respect. We don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past." As they made their way out of the cave, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were determined to learn as much as they could from the Lyrans and their world, and to share their own knowledge in return. The days turned into weeks, and the bond between the crew of the Odyssey and the Lyrans grew stronger. They exchanged knowledge, ideas, and experiences, finding common ground despite their differences. The crew marveled at the Lyrans' ability to live in harmony with their environment, while the Lyrans were fascinated by the humans' technological advancements and adventurous spirit. One day, as they were conducting joint research in the village, a Lyran scout rushed in with alarming news. "Ilara, Captain Harris, you must come quickly. There is a disturbance in the forest." Ilara's expression grew serious. "Show us." The scout led them to the edge of the forest, where they saw a section of the trees wilting and dying. The once vibrant plants were now withered and lifeless, and the bioluminescent glow was fading. "This is not natural," Ilara said, her voice filled with concern. "Something is poisoning the forest." Dr. Carter examined the dying plants, her brow furrowed. "This looks like a form of toxic contamination, but where could it be coming from?" Lieutenant Davis scanned the area with his equipment. "I'm picking up traces of a foreign substance in the soil. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Captain Harris's mind raced. Could this be an attack? Is there another presence on this planet? Ilara shook her head. We have lived in peace for generations, but it is possible that something or someone has arrived without our knowledge. Determined to find the source of the contamination, the crew and the Lyran scouts ventured deeper into the forest. The dying vegetation formed a path that led them to a hidden valley, where they discovered a crashed spaceship. It was unlike any vessel they had ever seen, its design sleek and menacing. "That ship doesn't belong to us," Captain Harris said, examining the wreckage. "But who does it belong to?" As they approached the ship, they noticed strange symbols etched into its hull. Dr. Carter's eyes widened in recognition. These symbols, they're from the Draconian Empire, a highly advanced and aggressive species known for their ruthlessness. Ilara's expression hardened. If the Draconians are here, it means trouble. They care nothing for the balance of nature or the well-being of other species. Lieutenant Davis inspected the ship's remains. It looks like they were trying to extract resources from the planet. This could be the source of the contamination. Captain Harris nodded. "We need to neutralize whatever they've left behind and prevent further damage." As they worked to contain the contamination, they heard a rustling in the underbrush. A group of Draconian soldiers emerged, their weapons drawn. "Halt! This is Draconian territory now." Captain Harris stood his ground. "This planet is home to the Lyrans. You have no right to be here." The Draconian commander sneered. "The weak have no claim to anything. We take what we want." A tense standoff ensued, but before violence could erupt, Ilara stepped forward. "We seek peace, not conflict. Let us find a solution together." The Draconian commander laughed. "Peace? There is no peace with the Draconian Empire." As the situation grew increasingly perilous, the crew and the Lyrans prepared to defend themselves. They knew that the balance of the planet and their very survival depended on their ability to confront this new threat. The tension in the air was palpable as the crew of the Odyssey and the Lyrans faced off against the Draconian soldiers. Captain Harris and his team knew they were outnumbered and outgunned, but they were determined to protect their newfound friends and the planet that had welcomed them. "Stand your ground," Captain Harris ordered, his voice steady. "We won't let them destroy this world." Ilara, her eyes filled with resolve, stepped forward. "We must protect the balance of our planet. We cannot allow the Draconians to poison our home." The Draconian commander sneered, raising his weapon. "Then you will die with it." Before the Draconians could attack, Ilara reached out to the bioluminescent plants around them. The plants responded to her touch, glowing brighter and wrapping around the Draconian soldiers like living vines. The soldiers struggled, but the plants held them firmly in place. "Now," Captain Harris shouted. The crew and the Lyran scouts charged forward, using the momentary distraction to their advantage. Dr. Carter and Lieutenant Davis used their advanced technology to disable the Draconian weapons, while Ilara and the Lyrans employed their intimate knowledge of the forest to outmaneuver their foes. The battle was fierce, but the unity and determination of the humans and Lyrans began to turn the tide. The Draconians, unprepared for such a coordinated resistance, started to falter. As the fight raged on, the ground beneath them began to tremble. The ancient crystals in the cave had sensed the disturbance and were responding to the conflict. Their energy resonated through the planet, causing the very earth to shake. Captain Harris realized the danger. "We need to end this now. The planet is reacting to the disruption." With renewed urgency, the crew and the Lyrans redoubled their efforts. They pushed the Draconians back, forcing them to retreat towards their damaged ship. The Draconian commander, seeing his forces overwhelmed, snarled in frustration. "This isn't over. We will return." As the Draconians fled, the trembling ground began to settle. The plants released their grip on the defeated soldiers, allowing them to escape. The battle was won, but the threat of the Draconians loomed large. Ilara approached Captain Harris, her expression one of gratitude and relief. "Thank you, Captain. You have shown great courage and strength." Captain Harris shook his head. "We couldn't have done it without you and your people. This is your home, and we're honored to help protect it." Dr. Carter, looking at the damaged forest, said, "We need to find a way to heal the land and prevent further contamination." Ilara nodded. "The crystals hold the key. With their energy, we can restore balance, but it will require the cooperation of both our peoples." Together, the crew and the Lyrans worked tirelessly to repair the damage caused by the Draconians. They used the energy of the ancient crystals to purify the soil and revitalize the dying plants. The process was slow and arduous, but their combined efforts began to show results. As the forest started to heal, the bond between the humans and the Lyrans grew stronger. They shared their knowledge and skills, learning from each other and building a foundation of mutual respect and cooperation. Months passed, and the once withered forest began to flourish again. The bioluminescent glow returned, casting its gentle light over the rejuvenated landscape. The Lyrans and the crew of the Odyssey had successfully restored the balance of the planet. During this time, the humans and Lyrans forged an unbreakable bond. They shared stories, traditions, and dreams, finding common ground despite their differences. Captain Harris and his crew felt a deep connection to this world and its people, and the Lyrans welcomed them as part of their family. One evening, as they gathered around a campfire, Ilara addressed the crew. "You have done more than protect our home. You have become a part of it. We are grateful for your bravery and friendship." Captain Harris smiled. "We feel the same way, Ilara. This planet has taught us so much about harmony and respect. It's a lesson we will carry with us wherever we go." Dr. Carter added, "The knowledge we've gained here will help us in our own efforts to protect our planet. We have a responsibility to maintain the balance, just as you do." Lieutenant Davis, ever the engineer, nodded in agreement, "And we've seen the potential of combining our technologies and wisdom. Together, we can achieve incredible things." Ilara's eyes sparkled with hope. "Our ancestors believed in the power of unity. They would be proud to see what we have accomplished together." As the crew prepared to depart, they felt a bittersweet mix of emotions. They had found a second home on this beautiful, mysterious planet, but they knew their mission was to explore and share their knowledge with others. Captain Harris addressed his crew. "We've experienced something extraordinary here. Let's carry this experience with us as we continue our journey. And let's always remember the lessons we've learned from the Lyrans." With heartfelt farewells, the crew of the Odyssey boarded their ship, leaving behind a part of their hearts with their newfound friends. As they lifted off, they looked down at the glowing forest, knowing that their bond with the Lyrans would endure. Ilara watched the Odyssey disappear into the sky, a smile on her lips. "Until we meet again, my friends." The Odyssey resumed its mission, exploring the far reaches of the galaxy with renewed purpose and understanding. The crew carried with them the wisdom of the Lyrans, using it to guide their interactions with new worlds and species. And so, the story of the humans and the Lyrans became a legend, a testament to the power of unity, respect, and the unbreakable bond between different worlds. The memory of their time together inspired future generations to seek harmony and understanding, forging a brighter future for all.